you're going to do, right, very simple, is every morning when you go to work, right, the very first task you do, right, is just, and you can do it, just try yourself for the first 21 days in a row. You can do it even from tomorrow, right? When you go to work, when you wake up in the morning, right, is to write a single 2-minute email or message or text, right, or praising or thanking one person, right, or thanking one person, your friend, right, your parent, your loved ones, your colleagues, right, your superiors, right, your team, right. All you do is just spend 2 minutes to appreciate someone, right. And when you do that, because all right, hi everyone. So thanks for coming on board to actually listen to my review of this book called Buddha and the Badass, right. And for those who do not know me, right, I'm Marc. I'm the creator of the Master Implementer movement, right, which aims to build the largest community of massive action takers in the world, right. And I'm also 001 for Team Resh, right. And our vision in Team Resh is also to build the largest community of givers in the entire world, right. So what happened was a few weeks back, right, this was what we call it was a compulsory reading by Resh, right, this book called Buddha and the Badass, right. And so what I'm going to share in this very quick video, right, is to share with my 3 biggest lessons, right, and 3 implementable tips, right, 3 implementable exercises that can take away right after this session, right. And what it actually plans to help you do, right, is actually what you can be a modern conqueror, right, in both the internal and the external world. So I'm going to share a bit more about this book. And yeah, so very quickly before I begin, right, is I read this book about 2 weeks ago, right, and since then I think I've read the book another 2 more times to actually really get the essence to some parts of the book, to review the book, right, and not just to share, right, but actually to really reflect on my own life, right, like how I'm going to apply the principles in this book, because I'm going to make a very bold statement, right. I could be totally wrong, who knows, but I have utmost certainty, right, that this book, right, is going to change the way that a lot, like whether is it millions of people live their lives, right? It's going to change how teams are, how team meetings are moved, right? It's going to change how companies, whether you're a small startup, SME, or even a global organization, right, is going to be operate in the coming years, right? So in the next 10 to 20 years, right, trust me, right, adding spirituality, right, into work, right, is going to be a lot more common, right? That's my prediction. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, right, with what I'm going to see and what I've heard from this book, and even looking at the principles that I've done, right, I'm so excited about what I have to share with you all. And if you're, and hopefully after this sharing, right, if you have not gotten the book yet, please grab it, right? Please grab it. And even then I'm giving away a lot of these books to people, right? So my girlfriend was talking to the boss, right? I was like, hey, tell boss I want to give the book, because I think this book has the potential to change a lot of how companies, teams, and even people's lives are being run. So that's my personal take. This is why I'm very excited to do this sharing. Okay, so very quickly, what's this book about, right? The Buddha and the Badass. So even before I go through my biggest lessons, right, just want to share with you quickly about what they mean, right, when they say Buddha and the Badass, right? So very quickly, what they say in the introduction over here is this: the Buddha, right? The Buddha is the archetype of the spiritual master, right? And the person who can live in this world, but also move with an ease, grace, and flow that comes from inner awareness and alignment, right? So from my take of what they saw about the Buddha, right, is someone who is at peace, right? Someone is able to move in the flow. Someone is can say slightly chill, right? But you know that the person there's a lot inside him or her, right? That's able to move and to think, right? And think like a Buddha, right? Being at peace, right? With that inner peace, and to move with grace, ease, and having that flow that comes from inner awareness. Someone who's very self-aware. And what they say, the last word is called alignment with your purpose. So that's something I'm going to share a bit more in the later parts of the sharing as well. The next, the Badass. Right, the Badass is the archetype of the change maker, right? This is the person who's out there creating change, building, coding, writing, inventing, leading, and disrupting the status quo. So what are the Badasses? These are the people who actually are out there to change the world, right? Whether it's through their inventions, through their leading, through their speaking, right? These are people who are actually creating impact, creating positive impact and change, right, to the world, to themselves, and to the people around them, right? And very quickly, right, once you integrate the skill sets of both, right, you experience life at a completely different level from most people. You operate from a space of bliss, ease, inspiration, and abundance. Right, and the Buddha and the Badass will show you how. So I'll show you something over here, right, at the back of the book. Right, you can see over here, which is that the Buddha is a spiritual master, the Badass is a change maker. And you have both inside you, and once awakened, they can transform the way you work, live, and build your empire. These are very lofty claims, yeah? as with a lot of personal development books, these are very crazy claims, right? That not only do you get to change the world, right? You're gonna build inner awareness, you're gonna build alignment with your life purpose, right? But when I read the book, right, and when I started implementing some of the principles over the past 2 weeks, right, a lot of things has been happening, right? That I can share a bit more about it later, right? But I just want to just get you started, right, by saying that the first thing, right, the first thing is to just tell yourself that it is possible, right, to combine the edge of spirituality and actual change maker, being an absolute badass, right? So regardless of religion, right, this is a book that will be implementable to you, right? And what they do is they combine spiritual teaching and then how you can apply it into the real world, right? So you can easily use it and implement it for yourself, your team, and your workplace. Okay, so if you're excited, right, put in the comments you are excited, right, and I'll get started, right? This is the one book I'm going to reread over and over again, and this is actually what inspired me to get his other book, right, The Call of the Extraordinary Mind as well, right? This has been a great book at the same time. So these two books is what has been guiding a lot of my learnings over the past 2 to 3 weeks. I've been into Mind Valley, right, and that's something I'm going to do. Okay, so ultimately, right, this book was written by this man called Vishen Lakhiani, right, and is the founder of this company called Mind Valley. And Mind Valley is a personal growth company, right, that aims to raise the entire human consciousness, right? They are here to transform the entire globe, the face of global education around the world, right, focused on personal growth, right? So they have a whole bunch of online courses, right? They have a meditation, teach meditation as well, spiritual growth. They use hypnotherapy. They use a lot of different topics, right? That's not being taught in school often, but can truly change someone's life, right? So that's Mind Valley for you. And for me, myself personally, right? You know that for those who know the Master Implementer movement, right? It's a lot of getting people to take action, right? A lot of getting people to implement, right? But what happened is something that I haven't been focusing too much, right? Was that for Master Implementer, right? It's a lot about action, but ultimately a lot of it goes to the mind, right? And that's what this book goes. It goes actually to the mind, right? And it goes in two ways, right? It's both from the spiritual point of view as a Buddha and also from the badass in the change maker. Okay, so I'm going to share with you my 3 biggest lessons and then some implementable tips you can take in for yourself. And then if you want to get a book, feel free to get it. All right, I'll put a link up later as well. Right, so the first lesson, right, was from chapter 1, right, and the chapter 1 is actually called Uncover Your Soul Print. So very quickly, I'm just going to share with you, I'm just going to read you an excerpt, right, from the book. And it was a poem, right? It was a poem that kind of showed the essence of what this chapter meant about, right? And this is the poem. Okay, so guys, like we always say, right, it's one thing to listen, but there's another thing to really listen, right? So if you really want to maximize value, right, listen to what I have to say, right, and see how you can reflect it and also to use it for yourself in your life. So here's the poem. When I run after what I think I want, my days are a furnace of distress and anxiety. If I sit in my own place of patience, what I need flows to me and without any pain. From this, I understand that what I want also wants me, is looking for me and attracting me, right? There is a great secret in this for anyone who can grasp it. Okay, so I can share the poem in another link in the comments in the description later. But what this poem is saying is that, right, when you know what you really want, right, not what society thinks that you should want, not what social media marketing, right, things tells you what you want. When you sit down and really reflect through and be patient, right, to find out in your mind, your soul, in your heart what you want, right, life is going to be so easy for you, right? And this is a great secret in this for anyone who can grasp it. Okay, and this leads to what is a soul print, right? What's a soul print? And just like a thumbprint, right? Also, what Vishen says that it's just like a thumbprint where everybody has a very unique soul print, right? And it's up to us, right, in the human body form, right, in the physical world, to find out what our soul truly wants, right? To find out what our soul truly wants, and then align our actions, right, into it. And that's how you live a purposeful, a fulfilled, and a happy life, and a successful life, in fact. So one thing regarding with the soul print, right, which is that your soul gives you clues, right? Your soul gives you clues, right? And so sometimes, I'm sure you know, sometimes you're in the flow, you know what you want, right? It becomes easy for you. That's when you're in the flow. And that's, you know, a point of time when the soul knows that it's aligned to the kind of goals and dreams that you want to achieve, right? But sometimes, right, when you are not doing the things, right, not doing the things that's aligned to your soul's purpose, right? Accidents can happen, right? Crisis can happen, right? Big things that can happen that could create a major down in your life can happen, right? And those are actually clues, right, for you to say, let me wake up and let me align to my life source and purpose, right? So one very quick exercise, right, is in the book as well, right? I'm going to share it quickly, but obviously they go much deeper into the exercise of the book, right? Is this exercise called the origin exercise, right? And what you're going to do is sit down, right? Sit down, be at peace, right? Don't get distracted by social media, by phones and everything that can mess up your thinking, and write with your heart, right? That's something that's very important. Write with your heart. Don't use so much of your brain, right? And to write over the past 10, 20 years of your life, right? What has been the 3 most major decisions you have made in your life, right? Your 3 most major decisions in your life. And the second one you can actually write down, which is write down all the peaks, P-E-A-K-S, right? The peaks of your life, whether it's up in terms of highs, happiness, and joy, or lows, right? Depression, sadness, right? Things that you do not want, right? And what happens is when you write out these stories in detail, you think through and you reflect through them, right? Your soul actually gives you a clue about what is your true life's purpose, right? What's your true life alignment? So for myself, very quickly, I'm going to share about myself. I know we have a bit of limited time. So for myself, I've always been interested in the startup space, right? So one of my biggest major decisions, firstly, was changing from my social science course to actually going into the business program. So that's number one, right? I wasn't very interested in social science, right? And when I was reading about business, right, I changed my entire program to that, right? Against what some people would want and think, right? That's my first decision. Second decision, right, was actually to join the startup space. So after I graduated, instead of joining a bank because I took banking and finance, I didn't do that, right? I actually joined the technology startup and entrepreneurship space. And that was one of my major decisions in my career, right? And then my third one was when I decided to join Buffer Online School, right? Join Buffer Online School to be a marketer, right? To be a marketer as well, right? To join a startup at the same time, right? And having no experience in paid advertising, marketing, right? But completely getting a whole new role and having to learn and evolve from it. So when I look at all this, right, my thoughts is that the clue that my soul is giving me, right, is that I'm into the startup space and I'm especially passionate about helping people who want to start out, right? So that's just something for you. So one thing you can do is use the exercise for yourself to find out what is your soul trying to tell you, and that's number one. Okay, so my next one, right, and that's lesson number 1. And lesson number 2, right, is this chapter number 4, which is called Master, it's a long word, Master Unfuckwithability, right? I don't even know if I pronounced it correctly, right? But this is chapter 4, right? And I'm going to share with you what that means, right? So being unfuckwithable, right? When you are truly at peace, right? When you're truly at peace and in touch with yourself, and nothing anyone says or does bother you, and no negativity can touch you. Okay, so basically what it means, right? So this is synonymous with being a badass, right? People who can control, people who create stuff, right? But essentially what it means, right? I think they give an example, means you go on a date with someone who doesn't text you back the next day, and you can't stop wondering what you did wrong. You get a negative performance review at a job you're not passionate about, and you can't stop feeling inadequate, right? You see your peers, your siblings, your colleagues, your friends progressing at a much faster pace that you see you progressing, and you start feeling afraid of getting left in the dust. So those are examples of being fuckwithable, right? That means you let external circumstances, right? You let external events, external thoughts, right, affect how you feel in terms of your emotions, right? And so someone who is unfuckwithable means that you do not let the outside stuff get into you. Do not let society, right? You do not let what external expectations, who are usually artificially crafted, right, get into your emotions and to affect your self-esteem, your feelings of self-worth, right? And you don't let it affect you, right? And so one of the best ways, right? So there are 2 ways, right? There are 2 things, 2 components, right? You've got to focus on if you want to achieve unfuckwithability, right? And the first one, right? The first one is this thing called feeling that you are enough, right? It has to do with self-esteem, right? Self-belief, right? How much you love yourself, right? And so that's number 1, right? Feeling that you are enough, right? And so number 2, right? Number 2, if you want to achieve unfuckwithability, the thing you have to focus on, right, is to create your own life as a unique masterpiece, right? So let me explain for that. So creating your own life as a unique masterpiece means you start creating a life that you personally want, instead of what that's being thrown into you by society, what's being imposed on you by your parents, your friends, your peers, your colleagues, right? You choose what you want and you create your own unique masterpiece, right? It's in line with chapter 1. It's in line with chapter 1, which is what they talk about the soul. What does the soul really want? What am I doing that's aligned with my purpose, right? So, how can you do it? So, 2 quick exercises I'm going to share that can do it. So, one of them is called the 2-minute appreciation exercise, right? The 2-minute appreciation exercise is actually coined by this guy called Sean Anker, right? He's a tech talk. He talks about happiness, right? And he talks about this 2-minute appreciation exercise, right? And what you're going to do, right? Very simple. Is every morning when you go to work, right? The very first task you do, right? Is just, and you can do it, just try it yourself for the first 21 days in a row. You can do it even from tomorrow, right? When you go to work, when you wake up in the morning, right? Is to write a single 2-minute email or message or text, right? Or praising or thanking one person, right? Or thanking one person, your friend, right? Your parent, your loved ones, your colleagues, right? Your superiors, right? Your team, right? All you do is just spend 2 minutes to appreciate someone, right? And when you do that, because and what happens is through the project of projection, right? Through the concept of projection, right? We already can better see in others what we see in ourselves, right? So the more you thank people, the more you appreciate people, right? The more you appreciate yourself as well, because you then get to see the kind of great things that you do for yourself, and that it helps with this first concept, the first component, which is feeling that you're enough. So that's number 1. Number 2, right? To really sit down again, right? It's something I did for the past weekend, right? So really sit down, right? With no distractions, no phones, no anything, right? And to just write down, right? Write down, what do you really want? What do you really want in life? If money wasn't an issue, right? If external pressures wasn't an issue, right? If external factors wasn't an issue, what do you really want in life, right? And of course, obviously the book Mind Belly, as in Buddha and Badass, they go much deeper, right? But they share 3 particular things you want to ask yourself. What do you really want? The kind of experiences you want to have in life, the kind of experiences, whether it's traveling, right? Whether it's helping people, right? Next, the kind of growth that you want, right? In terms of skills, your mindset, and everything. And then third one, the contribution, the kind of contribution you want to bring to the world, right? So I know some people might be thinking, why am I even thinking about contribution when I don't have the kind of money that I want, right? The kind of life that I want, right? Why am I even thinking of contribution, right? But I think if you know in Team Resh, what we always preach is that, right, you are blessed to be a blessing, and the greatest wealth strategy in the world is to give. Because the more you give, right, absolutely the more you receive, right? So that is sit down and really think through about what do you really want, and don't think of what society, social media, marketing, all the global companies telling you what you should want. You want to achieve a happy, successful life, right? Think through, be reflective, and that's something that you can do. Okay, so that's number 2. So number 3, right? So number 3, right, is chapter 11, right? It's chapter 11 of book, right? And this is something that I've been reading for a long time, right? This is something that I really like, right? And it's this chapter called Upgrade Your Identity, right? Upgrade identity. So very simply, for those who do not know what is upgrading your identity is about, right? Identity is just basically about the kind of beliefs, right? The kind of stories you tell about yourself, right? About yourself. What kind of things do you say about yourself, right? And what kind of person do you see yourself as, right? Who is the kind of person you are being, right? And that's identity. And what chapter 11 talks about is upgrading your identity. But first, I want to share one of the first quotes they share in the first page, right? Which is this concept called the beautiful destruction, right? Sometimes it's scary as hell, right? But what happens? What's about the beautiful destruction? Which is that sometimes in life, right? Sometimes in life, you have to destroy what is merely good, right? You destroy what is merely good to allow what is truly great to enter, right? Sometimes in life, you have to destroy what is merely good to allow what is truly great to enter, right? So for myself personally, right? Honestly, you talk about a lot of successful people, they usually go way into the dumps, right? They actually have some life catastrophe that happened to them, right? But for me, right, my life has generally been very smooth sailing. It has been smooth sailing, right? There weren't any big downs, right? I live a generally happy life. I'm a generally positive life, and that's my identity. I'm a chill, comfortable guy, right? But over the past few years, my identity has shifted to someone that's going to create massive impact, right, to the people around me, to the world, right, and to get people to take massive action, right? That's something that's only happened in the past 2 to 3 years, and my identity has shifted, right? My identity has shifted as someone who just wants to be comfortable, right, to someone who actually wants to create massive change and actually help other people achieve the kind of dreams that they want. And when you change the identity, right, don't even talk about motivation, don't even talk about willpower, right? The kind of actions you take for your life, right, completely changes, right? And it all starts with identity. So if some of you know that I talk a lot about habits, right? I talk about mastering habits, I talk about implementing, right? And there's this guy called James Clear, right? So James Clear is like the expert, the absolute expert when it comes to mastering your habits, breaking bad ones, right? Overcoming procrastination, right? James Clear is one of the experts in US, right? And even the master of habits says, right, that the first thing when you want to change your habits, right? They have this circle over here, right? You can check it out as well, right? If you really want to change your life, right? You want to change your habits, the first thing you want to change is not to focus on, it's not the goal that you want. It's not about I want to lose 50 kg in 1 year, right? That's not the thing you focus on. It's not about focusing on the process, right? So that's actually one level deeper about the process, is that instead of thinking about the goal, it's about I'm going to exercise 5 times a week, right? So that's the process, right? But you change your identity, right? The best way to change your habits, to change your life, is to change your identity, which is saying, I am a fit, healthy guy, right? I'm a fit, healthy girl, right? I'm someone who prioritizes health over anything else, right? And when you have that mindset, when you have that shift, right, your identity, right? Like I say again, yes, willpower, habits, right? Specific habits, tips, hacks, they all help, right? But when you change your identity, right, everything else becomes so much smoother in life, right? And something, a lot of people talk about this thing called the law of attraction, right? And what Vishen says is that the law of attraction, right, what most people think of it, right, is incomplete. Most people think that the law of attraction, right, is about the universe giving people what they want and desire in life, right? But when you go deeper into the law of attraction, right, it's not that, right? The universe gives you who you are as a person. All right, so that's something you got to remind yourself. It's not about what you want or desire, it's about the person you are. Who are you being in life? And the universe will give you according to what you see yourself as, the identity you've given for yourself, right? So very quickly before I finish, the exercise, right? The exercise, what I do is this thing called hacking your beliefs, right? Hacking your beliefs. So something I'm going to share a lot more in the coming months and years and whatnot is the power of meditation, the power of mindfulness, the power of meditation. And so one thing that Vishen does, right? He does this thing called hack your belief system, and it's by this tool called lofty questions. Right, so I think a lot of you know what affirmations is about, right? I'm successful, I'm happy, right? I'm powerful, right? You say I am, right? It works for some people, right? It works for some people in terms of affirmations. The more they tell themselves, right, the more likely they are to subscribe to that belief, right? But what Vishen says is sometimes when a lot of people say that, right? A lot of people say that there's a big part of them that don't believe it, right? And when you don't say it with conviction, you don't say it with belief, right? Affirmations don't work. Right, and this is why some of the top coaches around the world say that affirmations don't work. Right, if you don't believe in what you say, you can say I'm happy, but if your physiology is being said, right, it still doesn't work. So what they think, instead of affirmations, right, one thing it does is using this called lofty questions. Right, instead you're not making a statement, right, but you're posing a question to your brain, to your soul, to your heart, and then asking for evidence. So I usually do it when I'm meditating, right? When I'm listening to music and practicing mindfulness, right? And I ask, and so here are some examples of lofty questions that you ask yourself, right? Why do I have the body of a fit and healthy athlete, right? Why do I have such badass levels of focus? Why am I so clear on my vision and goals? Why am I going to be in flow today as I write my book, right? So when you ask yourself these questions, right, your brain is not taking it as, no, you're kidding, man, I don't believe you. Right, your brain is asking yourself a question, right, and it's going to start activating what we call the reticular activating system, and it's going to start looking for answers, right? And so when you do that, right, when you do that often enough and over a long period of time, right, you're just going to be on lookout of things, right, that of the questions that you ask yourself. How can I be more focused at work, right? How can I be more healthy? How can I lose weight, right? How can I be creative at work, right? How can I be so clear on vision and goals? So anything aligned to that, right, your brain is going to be automatically on the lookout. So that's what thing you can do on a daily basis that you can do as well. Okay, so, right, so with that, right, the book obviously goes deeper. There are a lot more examples, right, in terms of exercises on how you can do it. And that's just the 3 lessons I shared is just a very small sample, right, of all the lessons that they have been sharing, right, of all the lessons that's in the book itself. This is something that you can definitely take for yourself. It's more of a guidebook, right? It's not something just to read once, right? So I highly recommend it, right? But with that, this is Buddha and the Badass, right? The secret spiritual art of succeeding at work, right? And my take is not just at work, right? It's in any other area of your life as well. So I absolutely love this book, right? And I highly recommend it. So if you want a link, right? It's probably going to be, for those who are watching it on YouTube or on Facebook, right? It's going to be on the description, right? But if not, I'll send a link in the comments after this sharing as well. Okay, so with that, right? Once again, my name is Marc, right? I'm the creator of the Master Inventor Movement. I'm 001 of Team Resh, which aims to build a largest community of givers in the world, because we truly believe that the more you give, the more you receive, and we are truly blessed to be a blessing. Okay, so with that, for the next book review, guys, I'll see you guys soon, and bye everyone. Bye bye.